So how do you convince all these people that this is really important stuff? Because you're like, hey, you could be like the guy on the volcano, right? I've lived here for 40 years. It's never gone. Why do I have to leave Mount St. Helens? How do you convince people that this is really important?
And to some extent, like that is the question, because I can throw structural engineering facts at people. I can say, hey, building codes were never meant to be aspirational. They're supposed to be acceptable. Like that's the minimum. You're supposed to be going. I think we treat building codes like, oh, if you've done that, you're safe. And I think as Amanda pointed out, like
Yeah.
FEMA, some sister agencies are working hard on that issue. And I think helping spread the word that even current buildings aren't necessarily going to meet the standard of what we want as a resilient community. I think that's really important. And then say, now imagine your brick building that was built in the 60s, you might be living in a death trap. But rather than just freak people out and say, hey, your family's going to die in an earthquake, it's much more effective to say, we understand we know you're at risk. We want to share this information. We know you're just trying to pay bills. You're in the middle of a pandemic. Maybe you're out of a job. Like, here's some resources, like funding availability. Here's like low cost options to do things in your home that can make it safer. I think it's always about, hey, here's the problem, but then like, how do we link you to the solution? I think that's, like you mentioned, like FEMA has a pretty decent sized checkbook for grant programs. And I think it's sort of an old school mentality of like, we just give out checks and we walk away. I think like maybe that's like old FEMA, whereas new FEMA, it's like, hey, we have a check, but we walk alongside with you. And we say, here's how to put that money to good use and work with states on technical assistance. We're doing that right now with the state of Utah, where we're giving them money to work on unreinforced masonry buildings, which are old brick buildings that don't have steel rebar in them to hold them together during earthquakes. So they're vulnerable to earthquakes. But we said, hey, here's some money to help fix that problem. But also, like, I'm an engineer, my colleagues are engineers, they're urban planners, GIS folks. How do we bring a team to walk with you on that process and help you make the best use of that taxpayer money and actually keep people safe and make them, ultimately you want everybody to sleep at night. And, I'm a father, I want my kids safe, I want my kids' school safe. And that's all anybody wants, is just to be able to sleep at night knowing that their family's taken care of.